These are the houses Elvis Opio was putting up in the village. The houses look amazing, they look expensive, and I think you can guess the cost. The houses cost multiple millions of shillings. And Kenyans are wondering, how come that a man that has done an act that can only be done by immature people, how did he access millions to put up such kind of an investment? You know, a lot of people believe that when you engage in an act that they consider to be mature, like for example when you burn your girlfriend with acid, the way Elvis Opio did, it means that you don't have a brain, or maybe you don't have enough money or millions enough to build such an investment. People put up such kind of investments and then they end up doing very silly things the way Obado did. You want to tell me that when Obado was killing Sharon, he was not putting up multiple investments across the country? Obado was a billionaire. He was a multi-millionaire from the way we have seen according to ESCC records, but he ended up killing Sharon. So it was possible for Elvis to put up an investment worth millions of shillings and still end up burning a girlfriend with acid. But now let's come back to the main question. How did Elvis manage to put up such an expensive investment? Did he have a lot of money to do that? Yes. He had a lot of money to do that. And how can we prove it? We can prove it from the records that have been shown, the way the case was going. Maybe if I did not follow it clearly, from the statements that people are providing in court, I heard that he sent 500,000 to this lady, and that one happened in a single transaction. So you can imagine a man who is able to send 500,000 in a single transaction. How much money does he access? How much money does he access? And from what we know, Elvis was working for National Intelligence Service. Now, National Intelligence Service, the budget for the National Intelligence Service, a lot of Kenyans don't know. A lot of Kenyans don't know. Probably only the president knows. The reason why this money is kept private is to protect the national secrets. You know, this money also bypasses the standard auditing procedure. It's not money that can just come and then the auditor just plays around with it, knows this is where it went, this is where it went. No. Some of this money, the money that the National Intelligence Service is allocated, usually is a secret. It's hidden from the public. But I know it's in millions or in billions. But that money is not disclosed to the public. So, Elvis, first of all, was an NIS officer. Before we touch on the money that NIS is allocated, first of all, the mid-level officers in NIS earn between 100 to 250,000. So if we talk about his salary alone, Elvis could access hundreds of thousands because of his salary. His salary was good, and he could access that amount of money. But when you look at his investment, this is a massive investment, bro. The houses are massive. How could he access the other money? Now, these guys who work in intelligence also, they are given a lot of money to do some projects. For example, let me just give you one example. When a person like Elvis goes for a field visit, it is possible that he can be given 1 million, money that is not accounted for. He can be given 1 million and told, go to the field and then collect some intelligence. And as I told you, the NIS relies on human intelligence. So he has to pay some people here and there. So this money is usually not budgeted because it is a national secret. They are collecting intelligence. So when he has this money and it's not budgeted for and it's not accounted for, then this money can be used for his personal things. That is what I suppose, because if he could access that money and that money is not budgeted for and he can use it the way he wants, you know, it is him who decides. He can be given 1 million. I'm not saying he was given. Don't misquote me. I'm not saying he was given. This is a guy who can be given even 2 million. And then he's told, go to the street, collect this kind of intelligence. And then he will go and he is the one who will say, I used this money for this, for this, for this, and for this. And then he will come back and say that I spent like 1 million. And then he will go out with the 1 million. So these guys who work in the National Intelligence Service, they have a lot of money, a lot of it, by the way, because this money is usually not accounted for. And to add on that, he had a salary, a very good salary. So I believe Elvis had a lot of money at his disposal, and it was not criminal. You know, I heard some people say that, that was a criminal. How come he had that amount of money? That's so much money. Why do you doubt people's money? Why do you doubt people's money? The amount of money this guy had access to was legal money. Legal money. This is money that is provided by the government and it is budgeted for. So this guy could be given a lot of money that is already budgeted for. And when he goes to the field to collect intelligence, he can be given a lot of money for that mission, okay? And apart from that, he had a good salary. And that justifies why he was able to send like 500,000. I don't know if this lady asked for it. I don't know if it was school fees. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak things that I'm not sure of. But what we know is that he sent 500,000 to this lady. Now, a man who is able to send 500,000, is he a struggling man? That means that that man has money, has access to other money. He had a lot of disposable income. So this is not an average man. So when we talk about Elvis Opio, we are not talking about an average person who is suffering. Like, for example, some of you have boyfriends who send you 2K urgently, and you just measure the ability of your boyfriend, and you know that my boyfriend can send me 2K urgently. Now that is the ability of your boyfriend. If your boyfriend finishes you right now, and now you are now in the Claire's position, and then we go to court, we will find public records that your boyfriend once sent you 500 shillings when you needed it urgently. Sometimes he could send you 2,000. You know, that's now according to your level. It's not because I'm despising you. It's not because I'm despising you, but that is what you can afford. But a man who can afford to send a girlfriend 500,000, that is a man who has good disposable income. And therefore, we should not enter into a discussion where we are doubting his sources of income. First of all, his salary was in hundreds of thousands, I believe so. His gross salary, I mean, between 100 to 250,000 there, but that money is usually not disclosed for security purposes of the government. And two, he had access to money legally, money that he could use on his own and then account for it on his own. So this is a man who had access to a lot of money, and therefore he could put up these investments. If you are in his shoes, I'm very sure that you will also access this kind of money, and you will do big things. You will build good houses, you will travel the world, you will have multiple girlfriends the way he had a wife and a side chick. You know, money gives you the power to do a lot of things. And you know, NIS, being that it has a lot of money, that is why people who work for the NIS are usually children of the rich. Have you ever heard that it is NIS is advertising for jobs? I've never heard that NIS is advertising. Maybe you can make me understand. Have you ever gone somewhere and heard that NIS is recruiting? I've never heard of that, by the way. I usually hear that there's NIS. I don't know how it works. I don't know how it operates. I don't know how it collects intelligence. I don't know. You see, but I heard, was it Morara Kebaso who was talking that it is the children of the rich who go to NIS to work, and then they don't collect proper intelligence, and then that is why the government sometimes does not receive good intelligence. For example, the issue that happened in 2024. You see, in 2024, the government was caught unawares because the Gen Zs were organizing protests on a massive scale. You can see the kind of protests that happened in 2024. But the government was not aware. Why? Because it was not collecting enough intelligence from people. You see, so we have people in NIS who are lazy. They don't want to collect enough intelligence. They don't want to give enough intelligence to the president. And so when the president is not briefed enough, the president can end up making wrong decisions. And even we've heard Gachagua speak about this. Gachagua saying that the National Intelligence Service is not doing its work. Because children of the rich are the ones who are there. People who are employed there, they are employed because of connections. Someone goes to NIS and they are not doing their work, but there's a lot of money. They have access to these loads of money, okay? Now, I saw some people engaged in a very useless argument that I have just talked about, that how does he earn that kind of money and then he ends up making such a stupid decision? You see, when you don't have money, you think that money will give you intelligence. That is what you think because you are broke. When you are broke, you think that when you get money, money will make you more intelligent, money will make you be wiser, money will make you make the right decisions. My brother, money will make you mess up. Money will give you pride. Money will make you an insolent person. Sometimes you can be rude because of money. If I can just give my own example, for example, before I held some few millions of shillings, I was a very humble, kind guy, just working hard on my own things. And I used to listen to a lot of people. But when I held a lot of money in my hands, I became a fool. I became a fool and started investing in very useless things. Sometimes right now I look at those things and I wonder, I make more money than I used to make from those things. How was I not seeing these opportunities that I see now? Right now I make more money than a matatu can make, but I spend millions to purchase a matatu. And I'm wondering, why was I not seeing these opportunities early? It is because I had money and money blindfolded me. When you have money, you make wrong business decisions and you can make wrong relationship decisions. You can enter into a relationship with a lady who just wants your money and you may never realize that this girl wants money. When that money ends, that's when you realize that the lady has gone. Like, for example, you see me narrate how I divorced here, and the stories of my divorce are coming at the same time with my stories of being auctioned. I don't know if you people connect the dots. I will one day make a video about this, and you will understand. Now, I am auctioned, the wife is leaving. Then now I'm rebuilding, now without a wife. Then now my trajectory is good, now I'm getting now a lot of money. Now, do you think that I can get, now I've become wiser. I can't just go to a lady because she wants money. A lady who looks at me and then says, Gidi makes this amount. Now I cannot look at that. Even a class 8 dropout, I can marry her. Even a young lady, 21 years old, who doesn't even understand life, I can now marry that girl. As long as this girl is not focusing on my money. In the past, I used to think that, when you impress a lady with money, it is the good thing that can happen in your life. If you impress a lady with money and that money disappears, that lady is going to disappear also. She's going to disappear with that money. One day I will create a very logical video of my business experience, my financial challenges, and how my marriage ended. And you will connect the financial status of a man with the ability to keep and maintain a woman. And you will find that there are people, by the way, you will find that there are people with no money and they have wives. Do you know there are men out there who are dead broke, but in healthy marriages? Do you know that? That is when you will start to understand that we have ladies who can love you even when you don't have money. Okay? You don't have money, but they can love you. So when you have money, you can make stupid decisions, and when you don't have it, you think that when you will get it, you will be wise. That is why people who are broke right now are asking, how come Elvis, who had a lot of money, putting up such expensive homes, can make such a stupid decision? Elvis had money now, and money had clouded his judgment. That is why he can be in church singing. He has a wife at home with the 2 kids. He has a side chick. He can send a lady 500,000 shillings. Bro, can you send 500,000 to a lady right now when you are broke? That is a question I'm asking you. You are dead broke right now. You don't have money. Now, can you send a lady 500,000? I'm sure you are telling me no. Why? Because it is your lack of money speaking now. Your lack of money is giving you some wisdom that when I get money, I should either go to school and pay some fees, I should either get some land, I should build my house, I should take my children to school, I should invest in bonds, I should invest in treasury bills, I should invest here and there. You see, so when you don't have money, you have ideas. And that is why when you don't have money, it is the best time to plan. That is why when you go to the bank, they ask you, what do you want to use this money for? When you go for a loan, of course, I'm not talking about civil servant loans. Civil servants can just go there and then give a pay slip. Then they get money, very useless loans, those ones that they get, just given loans randomly. But for business people, the bank has to understand, where is this money going? The question is based on the premise that, did you sit down and analyze what you want to do with this money? Now, when they are satisfied that whatever you want to do is the right thing, they can even decide to buy a land for you. Then you will pay the way they did for Toju. They can even decide to do something for you. Then they build an apartment block for you. Then you can pay the money. So before you have money, before you get those millions, this is the right time to make decisions for your life. Okay, right, when I went broke after being auctioned and I've lost my writing gigs, okay, I didn't go dead broke because my income really never disappeared. My income just went down and then it took again another trajectory, right? But when your income goes down, you face a lot of financial challenges, then you start rising slowly. Now, in my trajectory of rising up, I am very careful with the lady I engage. Very careful. Because I know that I can make a very terrible decision if I just start befriending ladies randomly. Because there are those who are coming, they just want money. And it's not just ladies, even your male friends. Some of your male friends also, they befriend you because you have money. When that money disappears, you find that your friends also disappear. Okay, so I know we have digressed from the story of Elvis, but what we are learning from this story is that sometimes you can make bad decisions when you have money. Therefore, before you get money like Elvis, before you have access to money, before you have access to legal money, a lot of money that you can send your girlfriend even 500,000 like Elvis used to do. Right now, this is the time to plan your life. How many wives do you want when you are broke? You'll find you don't need a wife, or you need just one. Okay? How many girlfriends do you need when you are broke? Now, from a financial sense, I'm not talking from just doing your own things, like those promiscuous things you are doing. I am talking about being responsible. How many women do you really actually need? You need one or none. When you are broke, now that's how you think, right? Okay, how many cars do you need, for example? You need just only one car. This thing of having 10 cars, I don't know. What are you doing with all those cars? Now, plan your life right now before you reach there. How many kids do you want, for example? Plan right now, so that when you get money, when the money goes up, you operate with a plan that you had when you were broke, but you can adjust it slowly depending on how money is coming in, so that when money comes, you don't inflate your lifestyle, and then you find that your lifestyle is now keeping up with your income. And when your lifestyle keeps up with your income, you can end up broke in Runda, and you will be auctioned in Runda. So make wise decisions right now. Thank you for listening to me. This is Gidi Akali, and we shall meet again in another video.